What is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode number 12 of the Options Education series. In today's video, we're going to be going over one of the most highly requested videos since I started doing this, and that is going to be how to use Cheddar Flow. This has been one of the most highly requested videos, guys, since the infamous Facebook trade of March 16th. I slammed the table on that weekly call flow that we saw coming in. I was posting the various weekly sweeps that we saw on Facebook, and those calls ended up going over 4,000% overnight, guys. I know I sold my last runners for over 1,500%. And guys, a lot of my conviction for that trade came from what I saw within the flow. So in today's video, we're going to be going over what I saw, how to use the Cheddar Flow platform, and how you can best optimize it for your trading. Let's get into it right now. Now, guys, before we cover how to use the Cheddar Flow platform, let's quickly cover what flow is and what flow isn't, because having a definition and understanding of what flow is very, very important before you try to use a service that shows you what unusual flow is out there. Now, let's cover this topic first. Flow is not an end-all, be-all. It is not going to make you a successful trader. You cannot just expect to copy big money orders, which is what we are looking at when we look at flow, and expect that that's going to make you profitable. Oftentimes, guys, by the time flow comes in, depending on what service or how quickly that order processes within the algorithm, that order can already be in profit by the time it shows up on your service saying, okay, well, $200,000 worth of calls was bought here. The nice part about Cheddar Flow is it does show you at what price that order was put in, but you have to really look at things and be smart, because sometimes if you're just blindly following flow, you can honestly be chasing that trade, and that person that took it or that institution that took it is already out of the trade in profit. So making sure that you are following the right flow and really dissecting it is what is important. We use flow to quote unquote follow big money, and while it can be helpful at times in specific situations, it is really important to know what you are looking at. All right, guys, now we're going to walk through the Cheddar Flow platform itself. If you'd like to sign up for a free trial and then get a discount on your monthly subscription, you can hit the link in the Discord or on the private Twitter. That's my personal link, and that will give you a free monthly trial, and then it will be a discounted rate for the monthly rate after. That'll take you to the website where you can sign up, and then once you sign up, you will come to this page. And if you are a little bit newer to reading flow, or you are a little bit newer to looking at Cheddar Flow, this will be a fantastic intro to how the website works. Now, guys, what you are seeing here on the homepage is you are seeing flow across the entire market, right? So we are seeing, okay, across the entire market, the flow sentiment is generally bullish. There is a 53% to 47% call to put ratio. That means that out of all the flow out there that they've tracked in the market, 53% of that flow has been bullish and 47% has been negative, right? Now, one of my favorite tools on the homepage of the website to use is going to be the flow overview tab. Now, I like to use this because this can give you an idea of what the most active flow has been for the day. Now, for today, guys, you can see that the top bullish flow ticker, so the flow with the most bullish premium being purchased, right, is going to be Tesla, right? Second behind Tesla is BABA. Third would be Apple. Fourth would be AMC. Fifth would be JD.
First, you're last. You can be second. You can be third, fourth, hell, you can even be fifth. What are you talking about?
Right, and so on and so forth. Now, what this is going to do is it's not like an end-all, be-all, but it's a fantastic idea of, okay, there's some really bullish flow coming in on Tesla. Tesla and Apple are going to be up there every single day just because there's so many options being purchased, but this is a nice place to kind of scan for, and you can see if you see something unusual, like something like JD up there, that's one that I don't see up there every day, and that might be a good one to go ahead and look and say, oh, okay, there's a lot of really bullish call sweeps here. Now, you can also do the same for the other side of that, and you can go to the bearish flow. As you can see, there was also a ton of bearish flow on Tesla and Apple. So remember, there's just those tickers that trade a lot of premium, and therefore they're going to be on both of these. But like I said, this can be nice for those unusual ones where you can really kind of see, okay, hey, there's a lot of bearish flow here, right, where there normally isn't. Same type of deal. Facebook's another good one. It's not up there every day, but when you see it on there, it can be good to take note. So definitely utilize the flow overview tab. It's a fantastic tool that Cheddar Flow offers, and I love how easy and simple the user interface is across the entire website.
This is not rocket science.
I know compared to some other services, this is a really great option, especially when it comes to the user interface for a beginner. Now guys, another really cool benefit of Cheddar Flow is they do give you dark pool levels. We can talk about dark pools in other videos, but this is going to be a fantastic place to understand where there is a key level of resistance in terms of the amount of money that is sitting at that level, right? And in this case, 449.46, there's $3 billion in premium sitting there. So this can be an entirely other video, but definitely take advantage of researching some dark pool stuff. I'll make a video on it for you guys, but again, Cheddar Flow really kills it in the fact that they have all that dark pool data alongside all of that call and put data as well. Now guys, the way that I use Cheddar Flow personally, right? And the first thing we're going to do is look at how I use it, and then I'll go ahead and go over the 4 things that I look for specifically when I'm using it to add to my confirmation bias when taking a trade.
Enlighten me.
Now, you guys know me very well. I trade really 15 to 20 tickers total. Now, I'm going to be trading things that are hot, have great daily volume, and have really good range. And when I trade something, for example, in this case, let's use Facebook as an example, I like to check the flow on Facebook because it's not one that trades a ton of flow every single day. But when you do see directional flow on it, it can be a really good indicator of where the stock might be heading. Now guys, as we can look at Facebook, we're going to be looking at all of the data that is right here. Now you can see, guys, when I'm looking for something, a little bit more to the bullish side, right? You can say, okay, this would be a fantastic kind of order to look at, right? Facebook calls for May 20th. The 225 calls were bought with $156,000 in premium, and it was a sweep, and there was 448 calls purchased in volume on that, right? Now, this wouldn't be one that I would actually specifically follow because it's for May. I don't really care about May. I want to know what's going on for this week, right? But as you can see, those are going to be kind of the main things that I'm looking for. You'll also see different types of orders, right? Like a block or a split. I really tend to only pay attention to those sweep orders because they are usually swept above the ask, which means the buyer is kind of rushing in to buy those, and therefore they're willing to pay a little bit of a premium either above ask, or they're sweeping across all exchanges at once to kind of get all those collective contracts for their order. So I want to pay attention to those main things. And remember guys, Cheddar Flow is a fantastic example of what it looks like to have multiple pieces of data on one sheet, right? So you can see on Facebook, if you didn't want to scroll through every single order, you could see the flow sentiment was generally bullish. You had a 79 to 21% call to put ratio, which is definitely much more bullish. I will say it is helpful to go through and kind of look at least a few of those major orders just so you can really pay attention to the flow that matters to you. All right, guys, now that we've gone over how to use the Cheddar Flow app, let's go over the 3 main things that I look for when examining the flow itself. All right, guys, now the first thing that I'm going to be looking for is going to be the size of that call or put order in terms of dollars spent on the trade. Now, guys, when looking at this flow, you want to make sure that obviously you are not just following any Joe Schmo that is in his basement, taking $30,000 worth of lucid calls, full porting some crazy trade that he thinks is going to hit. At the end of the day, you want to be following people that have more money than you.
Something your little bum ass couldn't afford, that's for sure. Yeah, you think? Yeah, I do think.
Maybe they know something, maybe they just have a good inkling or idea of the theme that is coming. So we want to be following large orders, right guys? So for me, I try to follow repeat orders, so multiple orders over the $100,000 price point. For me, this is usually a smaller institution.
What is this?
A center for ants!
Or a very large retail whale trader, right? If you're sweeping over $100,000 and $150,000 worth of calls in a single order, guys, you probably have maybe a decent idea of where something is headed. And if you happen to see repeat orders totaling millions of dollars in those weekly call sweeps, guys, the $100,000 benchmark minimum is what I use as a filter, right? I don't try to really pay attention to anything under 50K. I will keep my filter set at usually $70,000 in premium. This way, if there's a bunch of repeat orders in that 80 or 90K area, I do catch those, but really we want to focus on orders upwards of 100K, and in that 80 to 90K range is definitely worth looking at, but we really want to look at those 6-figure orders in call or put premium on the sweep side of those contracts. Now guys, the next major prerequisite that I look for when filtering flow is I want to be looking at weekly call flow, guys, and this is maybe the most important one. We are trading weekly options the majority of the time in the private room, and guys, if you're trading weekly call flow, you can't be trading off of flow that is for next June of 2023, guys. Anybody can be purchasing large call premium or put premium for a year and a half out. That's not going to have an effect more than likely on the price of the stock over the next 2 or 3 days. What led me to take that infamous Facebook trade that printed over 4,000%, guys, was the fact that we saw repeat weekly sweeps. Those contracts were expiring in only 2 or 3 days. And when you see such large amounts of money coming into weekly calls repetitively, that is a pretty good inclination that the stock is definitely looking to make a move to the upside or downside, whether you're trading calls or puts. But in the case of Facebook, we saw so much weekly premium coming in that was a very good indication that the stock was directionally going to make a large move to the upside. Now guys, the last major prerequisite that I look for when I'm examining flow on Cheddar Flow is going to be I want to pay attention to those sweep orders. Now, this is a very important distinction, guys. Sometimes you'll see block trades happen. Oftentimes, people will be following flow that is someone selling call premium or selling put premium. We want to focus on those sweep orders, which means that someone is either long the puts or long the calls, and that means they are expecting a directional move, not trying to collect premium, selling premium on the $40 calls, on Lucid or whatever, right? We want to be paying attention to those sweep orders, and a sweep order means that when you see a repetitive sweep or you see me talk about sweeps, guys, that means that an order is being processed across multiple exchanges in order to fulfill that order, right? So there's multiple exchanges in which options contracts trade on. And when you see a sweep order, that means that somebody wants to get filled for their entire order at that time and place, sometimes above the ask, which is usually a good directional indicator. And when I talk about directional indicator, guys, I mean expecting a move up or down in the stock itself. So we can see put sweep premiums or call sweep premiums. So when you're looking at Cheddar Flow, guys, make sure that you are paying attention to those sweep orders, especially if you are newer to looking at flow. We really want to make sure that we are paying attention to those option sweeps. All right, guys, hopefully this week's video gave you a really nice understanding of how to process and understand the flow on the Cheddar Flow platform. I know this stuff can be intimidating. When I first started trading options, I had no clue what this stuff was, and it oftentimes went right over my head. And even as a more experienced options trader, I still had to master understanding how to read flow. It's not going to be something that you pick up overnight. It takes time and realizing, okay, when I've seen this type of flow come in, I've oftentimes seen this type of move. I've been doing this for a long time now, so it's a little bit easier for me to understand, but really making sure that you know what to look for and how to look for it is really, really important. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.